things of life-threatening situations. And Diamond was a miracle and a blessing.
She was, yeah.
But I want to welcome you, Don.
Thank you.
And I know you were just here last week, and she was back seen last week, but she's actually the CEO. Come on, tell us.
Yes,
the CEO of
Empowering Men and Women for Recovery too. We have an organization in Harvey, Illinois, and we do a lot of mentoring. Right now, as we speak, we're getting our summer program together.
Right.
So that's what's going on.
So she was here, and then I say, oh, you got to come back. You got to come back next week. You didn't want to be on the show last week. So I just said you had to come back. I wanted you to share your story, your miracle.
Yeah. When I was here last week, and I met Diamond, such a wonderful young lady. She kind of touched my heart when she was telling me about her story, and I let her know that I also had a tragedy where I had a heart transplant, and it's hard to say why it happened or what it really came from. You know, when I was younger, I did a lot of unhealthy things to my body. However, my dad, back in '98, passed, and me and my sisters were talking, and it could have been hereditary. I had a heart disease called cardiomyopathy, and I also had congestive heart failure. And I was diagnosed in 2005, September 2005.
Wow.
Yeah, I was going to school. I had took CNA, and I was going to go to school, going back to school for LPN. I had got in this program at this hospital I was working at, and we were doing our we were doing one of our classes, and when I went home that evening, I had got short of breath. And I thought drinking water would make me belch, but actually drinking water made it worse. And by the time I got to the hospital,
really?
It made it worse because it was fluid building up around my heart.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, sometimes when you have short of breath, and if you drink a 7-Up or, you know, you drink a pop or anything or some water, you think you got a belch, that it might be gas.
Right.
And I was smoking a cigarette, and I put the cigarette out, and I told my husband, Calvin Fox, I said, oh, it's getting worse. So about 1 o'clock in the morning, I went to the hospital, and I was diagnosed with an enlarged heart. And I had to stop everything, and that's when it first started. And I went through the heart disease for about 6 or 7 years. And the first time that I was going through it, I was living in Vegas.
So what were they doing? Giving you like medication?
They
it wasn't surgery right away. Okay. So
they said, we're going to give you this medicine, and in 6 months, you're going to be better. So I said, oh, okay, fine. But 6 months came, and I was
So you say you went to Vegas. What
I lived
happened?
in Vegas at that time. At that time, I was living in Vegas when I was diagnosed with heart disease. And they had you going through, you know, a lot of tests. And they didn't have a heart transplant team in Vegas, so they sent me down to University of California. So I had to go back and forth from Vegas to the university, maybe about 3 or 4 times out the month. And at that time, I think I weighed maybe about like I do now, it's just like 160 something. And I met a little bitty old doctor, and he had told me to, lose this weight for him to, if he was going to do a transplant, because one of my doctors recommended that maybe I may need a transplant because the medicine that they were giving me wasn't working. Then that's when I met a doctor in Vegas that said that he could help me. And sometimes it's hard to explain because when our heart beats on an ejection fraction, and my ejection fraction was beating on like an 18. A normal person ejection fraction beats on a 55, 65. Mine was beating like on an 18 to 20. And so that's when they decided maybe I may need a heart transplant. So that's when they started sending me back and forth from Las Vegas to Los Angeles.
So that I know that had to be very scary.
Yeah. Yeah, so I stopped everything. I was like, that scared me out of whatever I was doing. I didn't do it no more. And so at the time, I went to take a stress test, and I met a doctor that said he could help me. And that was Dr. Conrad Murray. He was like one of my doctors, and he really helped me. He would take like an hour. If it took him an hour to explain to myself and my husband, Calvin, what it was that he needed me to do.
Wait, that doctor name sounds familiar. You said Dr. who?
Dr. Conrad Murray. Dr. Conrad Murray was my doctor in Las Vegas. That was also the doctor that Michael Jackson had.
Okay, I thought that name was familiar.
However, I speak on him because he helped save my life. Because out of all the other doctors I was going to and going back and forth from Vegas to California, like 3 or 4 times out a month, when I got with him and he changed my medicine around, put me on a certain diet, I started doing exercise like he told me to. My ejection fraction was beating like on 10%. My ejection fraction went up to 40%.
Oh, wow.
And I was 3 years into my my heart disease. And that's good. That's real good.
Yeah,
I was doing real good. And
so what was the turnaround for you that made you actually end up having to have surgery right away?
Well, we really don't know that. I moved from Vegas to Chicago, then moved back from Chicago to California with my children, myself and my husband. And that was in January of 2010. February, I got sick, and I don't know what happened. I don't know where it came from.
Coming back to Chicago.
Everybody tries to say that, but Chicago, it's still what it happened. A lot of people say, "See that?
Please, I leave here, I ain't coming back."
But when I moved to California, that's when it happened. And so they were like, "You should have stayed in Chicago." But however, it was just something that was. I believe it was just something that was going to happen. Because in February of 2010, I got sick from February 2010 to September. And that's when all the illness started to come. I had laryngitis. My kidneys had failed. I had went into renal failure. My heart had got so weak it had pulled my kidneys down. So I had went into kidney disease. So I was on dialysis for like 6 weeks. But through God's grace and mercy on me again, I got well in 6 weeks, and the kidney disease was gone. Because at first we were talking about a heart and a kidney transplant. So I had a team of heart doctors, and then I had a team of kidney doctors. But the kidney doctors went away because my kidneys came back.
Kidneys came back with a blessing.
Kidneys came back with a blessing.
So you had this heart transplant here in Chicago?
No, ma'am. I had it in California.
You had it in California?
I had sick in February, and when I got sick, I couldn't have traveled from here to across the street. I was weak. I couldn't do anything. My husband really, really was there for me. I was just so grateful for him, because we lived in Victorville, California, and they didn't have a transplant team up there, so we had to go down to L.A.
Right.
Took about an hour and a half on a good day.
So what I'm asking you is, you came to Chicago and then you got sick again, then you went back?
No, when I left Vegas, I was better.
Okay.
And then that's when I moved to Chicago. I was doing a lot better when I moved to Chicago for the 2 years. Okay. After I moved to, when I moved back to Chicago, we decided we wanted to move back to LA. I moved back there 1 month in January, and I got sick. So that's why we don't know where that came from.
Okay.
We don't know where that came from.
Okay.
My ejection fraction had been going down a little bit, but not that much. But in February of 2010, it went down. It went from a 40, and it went all the way back down to a 10%.
Okay. So when you had the heart transplant, you actually had the open heart surgery along with
it's not open heart surgery.
Well,
because
yeah,
they take out your heart. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, it's different.
Explain it to me.
Right.
I'm a little slow.
It's different. Open heart surgery is all the way different. I needed a brand new heart. My heart wasn't any good.
It's actually somebody that Denise says that she has a picture of you in the hospital.
My sister. That's my sister.
Okay, can you all pull the picture up? Let's see the picture. She haven't sent it. Okay, when she sent it, make sure you all show it. I want to see it. I want to see it. So explain. You was explaining about the surgery.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot before I had the surgery, because before I had the surgery, they had done a procedure on me to stir my heart up, and they had to shock me with the defibrillator 15 times. Actually, I had a defibrillator, and mine went off 3 times, but it malfunctioned, and so they had to patch, and they had to shock me. But I was feeling it. I lived through it. It was like 400 watts.
Oh, wow.
Of electricity going through my body, and it burnt. It burnt like it's clear now. All of this was burnt. I had webs all here and all here, and it was just shocking me in.
Wow.
Yeah.
A blessing.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. I'm just truly blessed and grateful.
So, after going through what you went through, I'm supposed that you probably felt like I'm not gonna never get well.
Oh yeah, I felt that. Let me tell you, it was a time my husband, I couldn't even, him and my daughters. I had 3 daughters and I had 2 grandsons at the time. The little one was a baby. They really helped a lot, and my 2 sisters, they tremendously helped. My 3 sisters and my brothers. My brother flew from New York. My sisters came out from everywhere. They called my family and gave me 6 months to live. But like I said, through His grace and mercy. But it's just so awesome how I was sitting outside Calvin would go to the store, and I would watch the people run out of their cars to the store, and I couldn't do that. You know how you get out the car and run in the store?
So was it like actually after having the surgery and realizing and knowing that they had burnt a portion of your upper body? How was it just trying to get up and just say, okay, I'm going to do this? Faith.
Every day. And I said, I got to get a scripture. I got to get something that I could keep with me every day. Because family would come and then they
talk,
would leave.
and it was just like you.
Yeah.
You're like, Diamond, I ain't trying to hear that.
No. And yeah, and I was like, they was like, Mom, I was like, that's all right. I ain't going nowhere. I had faith. I just knew, just didn't know when. But I just knew that through God's grace and mercy that I was going to pull through it. I said, with God, nothing is impossible. That's in Luke 1:37. I took that with me, and every time them lights would go off, I had a problem with hearing a sound because I would jump because my monitor would go off, and I go into VTech, and as they'd come and But like I said, through His grace and mercy,
Yeah, it's amazing.
on me, and
miracle.
I went down twice before I had to transplant because they called me down the first time, and it wasn't a match because it has to completely match up. And then they called me down the second time, and it wasn't a match.
So it was like how long of a wait? Because I know you was diagnosed with it in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
So how long was the wait before they actually? Because you said they called you down twice, but it wasn't a match.
Mm-hmm.
So it took that long.
I was blessed too because I was sick. I was sick for 8 months, and it's a lot of people that's sick and on the list for years. I got on the list in July, and I had my heart in September. They called me in July, and it wouldn't have matched. They called me in August, and it wouldn't have matched. And my doctor said, Dawn, don't worry about it because the third time is a charm. And on September the 27th, 2010, at 7:30, I went in, I had my surgery, and I woke up 2 days later.
Wow. It's a blessing that you had to go through, and like you said, things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
And you got sick for a reason, but don't nobody want to have to go through that.
They don't. But you know what? When Diana said, and I feel her pain when she said, I wouldn't change it for the world, because I wouldn't be who I am.
Exactly.
I
That's
would
where
not
I'm
be
going with this.
who this person that God want me to be. And this is a creation of God, not me.
I hope your sister get those pictures over before the show ends. But my next thing is when you started really feeling yourself and knowing that, hey, I got this.
Yeah.
What was your first thought that you wanted to do?
Run in the store and buy a loaf of bread. I'm going to jump in the car. I'm going to run to the car. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to drive to the store. And I'm going to park. I'm going to run in. I'm going to get a loaf of bread and run back out. And people just don't know how important that was to me to do that.
So do you take any medications now?
Yeah. Yeah, I basically take 3 anti-rejection heart pills. But I had high blood pressure, and that can be worked on. And that's what I'm starting to work on now. Yeah, that can be worked on. And vitamins. But I don't take near about, I may take now maybe 13 or 14, but I don't take near about the pills that I took. I took 50 pills in the day.
Wow.
And I think 23 at night.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I had a big old, that case was like this big, great big case like that. Yeah. Yeah, almost.
So, I mean, do you have like any, how's a week for you? I mean, do you get sick often or, because you sure don't look like it. I mean, you just last week, if you hadn't said nothing, I would have never saw, she been sick.
No, I do good. And this is through the grace of God. This is what He created. And I believe that's why a lot of times we go through the things and we're allowed to go through the things that we go through, where He can show you what He can bring you through. Because He brought me through this.
So let me ask you, besides the piece of bread, because you last week, besides this wanting to run to the store and get this piece of bread, your next thought was you wanted to start. You felt like you wanted to help other people. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. I had a vision that I really didn't want to see people going through what I went through. And from all the things that I was doing, drugs, alcohol, unhealthy eating, everything, I don't want people to have to go through what I went through. So if there's anything I can do possible to help anybody not go through what I had to go through, that's what I do now.
So I hear you saying the drugs, the not healthy eating, but earlier part of the show you said that the same thing somewhat happened with your father.
Yeah, and so it could have been hereditary too. It could have been, so actually the type of heart disease that I have is basically not a one pinpoint diagnose. Whereas, this can, if you drink, you can have this alcohol, you
Exactly.
can do this.
That's
it could
what
be
I
a
want to
virus
try.
that you can catch. I had pneumonia. I had double pneumonia.
Oh, wow.
I bled almost 24 hours. They gave me a procedure, and it was a garbage can that big, and they were just rolling the sheets up in my bed. And so it's just a lot of things, and congestive heart failure can come from a lot of different things.
Right.
But by my heart being weak and everything else, my immune system being strong enough, that's why I was able to have the heart transplant, because it did no damage to other parts of my body. So I say that to say maybe it was hereditary. My lungs are good, my liver is good, and my kidneys are good.
So let me ask you, because when you said that you got shocked from, now was that a case that, this is something that possibly could happen behind that, or was it something that maybe they was giving
Definitely.
you too much?
You know what? I could say that. I had a procedure done, and it's called a right heart catheter, and they put a tube down my throat to see where my heart numbers was at. That was one of the things to see. And at that time, my heart was beating on a 4.5.
Oh, wow.
And so they was like, we got to hurry up and get this girl a heart. But I just lost my thought.
I know, it's so much, though.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's just like in and out of the hospital, and the surgeries, and the sticking, and the blood transfusions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, it's just like okay, I can smile about it today.
Yeah, because the defibrillator, my heart, I was just walking one day, and my defibrillator went off. So you don't have to be necessarily doing anything for your heart to go into palpitations. You could just, it just happened. It would just happen.
Okay. Now I know, because I wanted you to get on your what happened when you wanted to start helping people. But let me ask you this other question real fast. Now, seeing that you did have the heart transplant.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, are you still diagnosed with this disease, or it's just it's gone? You shouldn't ever have that.
Well, you can't never say what you shouldn't have.
Right.
By me having a transplant, I've met people that had to have transplants more than one time.
Really?
Yeah. And I met people's stories that's way worse than mine. So you just never know.
It can get worse.
But it can get worse, because even, after I had my transplant, I caught the shingles.
Oh. Are you serious?
I am serious. And it hurts.
Let's look at the pictures. They got the pictures here. I want to see. Oh my goodness, that's not you. You see? That's you? So was this right after
That was before.
Oh my goodness. It does not even look like you. That does not even look like you.
That might have been when I was on dialysis, maybe.
Wow.
I was like 90 pounds, 100 pounds.
You had really lost.
I was sick. I was really sick.
Now, this picture.
Yeah, I think that's when I was on dialysis too. Yeah. Because they had to pump it from right here. Yeah.
It's a blessing that you were able to see forward. I mean, to just see the light behind.
And I still
that didn't even look like you.
And even at that time, I was still, God had it where I was still in a positive. Yeah, because I couldn't give up. I had to keep it, my mind had to just keep saying.
Thank you, Denise.
Okay.
Thank you so much for sending those pictures in. Denise is your sister,
That's my
right?
sister.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
Denise.
so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But, I have to say die. Dying too.
Okay.
John, yeah. Lenny.
I mean, it's just it's a miracle being able to sit here and hear your story and see how good you're looking and how well you're doing.
Yeah, God is good. He's awesome, and we serve an awesome God. And I say that to say that's what made me want to reach out.
That's where I want to go with this.
That's what made me want to reach out.
Going through all that,
the rest of my life.
Oh my God, I want to help. I want to give back. I want to help.
Give back.
So you had the strength.
I had the strength
to get up and say, I'm going to help some more people.
That's right. That's it.
Wow.
That's my life.
Amazing.
That's my life now.
Only on Full Circle.
Yeah.
So your first thought, because you say now what happened to make you want to start doing what you do? Because I want to get into that a little bit before we end the show.
Okay. Yeah, we moved back from. I was 8 months after about 8 months. We moved back home, and my church, the church that I attended, First Wesley Academy in Harvey, Illinois, Pastor Charles Willery. Myself and one of my cousins wanted to. Just do some programs to see where we can help out. Actually, I didn't know what I wanted to do. All I know is I wanted to help. And right now, from where we started and where we are now, I couldn't even really start to tell you, you know what I'm saying, how it really came together. All I can say is that everything just came together through the grace of God. And my husband, Calvin, has just been awesome. He saw how the vision was in me, and so he took that on. He took that part on. And
we have somebody. We have a call in. Let me make sure I don't hang up. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Fine. I just want to say you are so strong.
Yes.
Very, very good.
Thank you so much, and I love you so much already.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, sweetie.
That was sweet.
I told you that's my girl.
Wow.
Oh.
So let's go back to your
yeah, and so we got together, and Calvin came in, and it's just been going ever since. I mean, that man, he's really taken us to.
And the name of the organization again, that
Empowering Men and Women for Recovery too.
And she's the CEO, so yeah. I'm sure you just you make it do what it do.
Yeah, I do, and him. It's just like we just a pack, because everything that we've been doing,
I can tell that it's a pack.
It's just like together, cause
I can tell, because last week when he was on the show. And if you follow Full Circle, you just checked all them strong Black African-American men, which is what I kept saying last week.
Yeah.
You would have saw all of those strong Black men right here on Full Circle, and they had it all together. Each one of them had a certain title or something that they did, and they knew their part, and it was just, I mean, I had so much respect. And when we were telling you something about coming on the show, you was like, oh, no.
I wait my turn. Everybody has their turn, you know, and everybody needs a turn to shine, you know, and at that time it was his. And that's what I like to do for Fox.
Yeah, well, it's a blessing, and I really, I want to thank you so much. I want you all to flick those pictures again, even the pictures of my first miracle, which was my daughter Diamond Silvertooth, that was in a fire 2 years ago, March actually of 2011, and I want you to also show the pictures of Don, and just check out this miracle and the two blessings and miracles that I actually had on my show today. Well, that's Diamond. A month after she was in her fire, she went right back to school, because she goes to military school.
Oh.
Yeah. So she was in a hurry to go back. But go back to the few of the first sets of pictures, and then hit Don before we end the show. I just want to show people that all you have to do is pray.
That's it.
And have the strength and be positive.
That's right.
And stay strong and keep it moving, right?
That's right. That's right.
And you got to have the faith. If you don't have the faith, you don't have nothing else. And this is where Diamond, my daughter, how bad she was burnt. And like I say, we showed some of the pictures earlier, and I just I want to thank you all for taking out time and sharing your story
having me
with us.
It's wonderful.
And it's
Thank
just
you.
and I mean I still can't believe that's you.
That's me.
It's just like no way.
About 100 pounds, 90. Yeah, I had lost.
Just no way.
That's me. Yep.
You know, I think even looking at the picture, I think I probably would have literally had to walk into the hospital and say, okay, this is you. Because it's you know, it's a blessing.
God is awesome. We serve an awesome God.
And what would you, what advice or positive information that you could give to the viewers, someone that possibly is going through some similar to what you or Diamond have been through? What good advice?
I would like to say just keep the faith. Just have something that you can hold on to. Hold on. Don't ever give up, because God will see you through.
And give us the email or something, information to your organization.
Empowering Men and Women for Recovery, too. We do a lot of mentoring. The email is emwfr@hotmail.com. And the phone numbers are 708-378-5523. And the office number is 708-247-2255. And that's Empowering Men and Women for Recovery, too. We do a lot of mentoring, men, women, children, whoever we think may need it. God bless you, and thank you for having me.
And you can always contact, if you can't get in touch with them, contact Queen@StarPlanetTV.com, as well as a TV show, Full Circle, host Queen. You can Google us, and we got all type of numbers. You no reason to not be able to get in touch with us, right?
That's right.
So I want to thank you again, and again, you all blessed Full Circle this evening, and I hope you all, to all my viewers, enjoy watching the show. And you all know my motto: same time, same place, right here, next week. Peace, and we out of here. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you.
Where's that at? What ain't? That's a bad chick. What ain't? Shorty bite. What ain't? That's a bad chick. What ain't? Shorty bite. What ain't? That's a bad chick. What ain't? What ain't? That's a bad chick. Where's that at? What ain't? That's a bad chick. What ain't? Shorty bite. What ain't? That's a bad chick. What ain't? Shorty bite. What ain't? That's a bad chick. What ain't? What ain't? That's a bad chick. What ain't? Shorty bite. That's a bad chick. Damn, that's a bad chick. Hey, that's a bad chick. Damn, that's a bad chick.